Hey.
Dan, you look like a Sith Lord.
He does. He does. I was telling
Good.
And I mean, we are absolutely overjoyed and thrilled beyond any measure to welcome the two amazingly sexy, beautiful gentlemen from the Contrarians, Julio, Alex. I'm actually going to move you two up to the top here and put Gerald and Dan in the basement where they belong. Hey, that's where we are now. But before we jump into the segment here, please let the audience know a little bit about the Contrarians, what you guys are all about.
Go for it, Alex.
Well, I'm Alex. That beautiful slice of Peruvian pie you see there is Julio, and we are the Contrarians. Good friends, used to work together, and basically in board conversations at work, came up with the idea for this podcast that we do many, many moons ago. Julio and I like to rage against the Rotten Tomatoes machine, as we say. Find a movie on Rotten Tomatoes that is, we usually shoot for like 80% and above, that whole certified fresh gimmick that they do. And we'll dissect the movie and talk about how maybe the critics got it wrong or really overstated the positives of it. And then, of course, the inverse is that we'll find a rotten movie on Rotten Tomatoes, lowly rated, and find its positive merit, basically just to show that the Rotten Tomato system is flawed, which, seeing there's no lack of material, considering how so many people today don't understand really what that website is.
Yeah. And then, I mean, because we try to make it funny, that's like the first half of the show, and then on the second half of the show, we tell you how we really feel to provide nice balance. So, for example, today, we will be talking about a rotten movie. What is it, Alex? 17%? 11%?
17, I do believe, which is shocking. I just finished this movie moments ago, and I cannot believe the happening that there was a modicum of critics that enjoyed this movie in 2008.
I have one fresh quote for you in a minute.
Much to Jason, $14 donation. Start drinking and then hook my $69 donation. Shit, those nerds over there.
Go ahead and explain why you need to start drinking, Alex, because anybody who doesn't follow our Twitter might be a little confused.
Okay, so yeah, we're doing, I know I want to entice viewings, donations, excuse me, and viewings. So for every $7 donation, now we got the 14 one, so that's going to have to count as two. But moving forward, it's $7 specifically. For every $7 donation, your boy takes a swig of The Rock's new tequila. $7 productions and his whole gimmick about $7. So for every $7 donation, I will take a swig from this tequila bottle, and we will see how this conversation about M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong goes as we progress through it. Julio, we do also have, for any fans of ours and potential new fans we gain, we also have motivation for donations throughout this process. Last year, thank God, for any people that have listened to this, this is our third year, and we are off of the erotic thrillers, and I could not be more grateful for it.
No, bring back Jade.
No,
we're done with Jade.
I'm done. So last year we topped our goals, and that led us to doing Jade and Showgirls and Indecent Proposal and these hours of my life that I will never get back. So Julio, we're aiming for that again. While I take my first swig of this, which I have not tried yet, why don't you explain what our tiers are for this year?
Yeah, so much like last year, we have 4 tiers. If we make it to $50, we're going to, it's basically, instead of being erotic thriller themed, this time it's Shyamalan themed. So if we make it to $50 in donations during this segment, we're going to do an episode on The Sixth Sense. If we make it to $100, we're going to do an episode on Signs. That takes care of the 2 fresh ones. If we make it to $150, we're going to delve into rotten Shyamalan. We're going to do After Earth, that beautiful movie about...
Sweet Jesus. Well, I hate to tell you, but you're already over 100 in with
Jesus.
American Franny with a $28 donation. All hail.
Hey!
So I guess we're already doing Sixth Sense and Signs. 150 will be After Earth. And then if we make it to the big 200, we're doing Avatar: The Last Airbender.
No. Just The Last Airbender.
You got 10.
It's not Avatar. I don't know.
No,
I mean,
because it came out around the same time as Avatar, they removed Avatar from the title to not get you confused.
Absolutely amazing. And that was such a fun segment, gentlemen, from those nerds over there. A $500 donation.
Well, there it is.
Pour one out for all the livers that fell for this great event. Thank you so much, gentlemen. That was such an amazing, fun segment. Guys, we're knocking on the door of $12,000 for cancer research.
Hooray! We get Avatar.
Not even
just the last Airbender.
Not
So
10
happy.
minutes in, and I'm already heavily regretting this.
Finish the bottle.
That's Shades of Ashley 2 hours ago for Better Call Saul right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey,
After I
I'm
saw
gonna
that, I
bet for
texted
every
Alex. I was like, "Are you sure about
$25,
this?"
I will drink a bit of my bourbon. Me immediately. Oh, 4 shots. Here you go.
Thank you so much, those nerds over there. Also, the first time that my $500 plus dono alert has played, you're tearing me apart, Lisa.
That's funny.
So,
I'm trying to
I
keep up
forgot
with the chat,
that,
but it's gonna be hard.
Okay, yeah, I forgot that we're just in here, so I don't get to hear all the Shane O'Mac run-ins this year for the donations. But keep them coming, people. This tequila is surprisingly smooth. I don't really like it, tequila in general, but it's smooth, and I got limes and salt. So, Julio, first of all, we would be remiss if we did not thank our gracious host for having us. Gentlemen, it's so great to see you all once again. Apologies that we made you guys watch this movie, but, it's all in good fun. It's because we love.
Yeah, but it's also a nice change of pace. No Sharon Stone, no Billy Baldwin ass. So the variety. It's the spice of life. This time we got.
Guys. I mean, you guys. No matter what you guys are going to put us through, you're always going to be welcome here. We absolutely love you guys. So thank you so much for coming back and doing it yet again.
Famous
Absolutely.
last words, Nick. He always says this when he looks at the donations, but then when we're giving him the movie to watch, that's when he hates us. So The Happening. Alex.
Yeah, I remember him raising his voice multiple times in past years. So, all right. The Happening. Yes, Julio, before we get into it, we've explained what we do. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. We are thecontrarians.com. Contrarian Prime on Twitter, Contrarian Prime on Instagram, /Contrarian Prime on Facebook. That's where you can find us at Contrarian Alex on Twitter for myself, at Avnio for Julio. And also, it's a team effort here. It's myself and Julio on the podcast, but we want to go ahead and give a shout out. One, to the Miss Lovely Zoe Perez, who helps curate our social media game, does a lot of really good work for us. We do appreciate that. And then Julio from your neck of the woods, our boy that makes our designs and graphics for us.
My
I just
old neck of the woods.
I just got a $7 donation in the chat. That was from me. Fuck Shyamalan for $7. Alex, get a drink in there. And Destruction in Human Form, Jared Taylor, $19.31. Tried to round it off on me before I snuck that donation in there, but we are at $11,907. We are so close to $12,000. And to Ghost Pepper Raspberry Buttercream Frosting, Dan.
Fuck yeah.
All right, and yeah, from my neck of the woods, Hans Teaser, who did our logo. If you go to our pages, that little tomato, that's drawn by Hans. And then if you listen to our episodes, the Festive Years do our music. That little tomato, yes. So, Alex.
Yeah, thefestiveyears.com. Check it out. All good. Julio, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. We're going to be doing kind of a truncated version of what you can expect typically on the Contrarians podcast, kind of breaking it down bit by bit here, because there are really 4 pillars that make up The Happening from June 13th of 2008. For some reason, I thought this movie came out earlier than that.
You're right.
But there's no way to date it quite like the Motorola Razr phones that everyone uses in it. I think that is a perfect timestamp for it.
Well, also just the fact that there's no internet in this world, no real internet, even before The Happening happens. So we know that it's not like there's no Generation Z at that point. This is before that, and also there's Mark Wahlberg trying to get an Oscar.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg tries to do a lot of things in this movie. So. Of course, most known for coming into this, M. Night Shyamalan, most known for the screenplay of Stuart Little coming into The Happening, but also off the heels of The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, and Signs. So I thought this, so this was also after The Village and Lady in the Water, but still, he hadn't really made something like this to really, tank his reputation. So M. Night Shyamalan came into The Happening as a man on a mission, in my opinion, and it was to say, I'm not the next Spielberg, and I'm also not the next Roland Emmerich. I'm the first M. Night Shyamalan, and I do what the fuck I want. And
we got Alex. I hate to cut you off there, but We have two $7 donations, one from Confirmed Shoot, and then another mysterious $7 donation from Shyamalan is a hack with the message, I guess we'll never understand it.
Man, whoever that guy is really doesn't understand the whole gimmick of this show.
So Julio, just starting, with the creator here, writer, producer, director, Shyamalan, he was determined to make a statement with this. And we were kind of talking about this last night, just you and I, the balls it took for this man to make this film.
Right. He could have stayed, he would have been the king of Hollywood if he had just remained making the same movies that he was making. All he needed to do was just thriller with twist at the end. That's all it required. PG-13, cast a couple of good-looking actors, and then just repeat. I mean, people, like you said, they were calling him the next Spielberg. They were comparing him to Hitchcock.
Oh my God, we are so close, ladies and gentlemen. We are $6 away from 12,000. We just got a donation. What? Mario in the bar, $10 for Julio, my Peruvian brother. Hope the country figures it out. And then Brody with a $63 donation. Barnett Fight.
Yeah, I know who that
away.
is.
$6 from $12,000 for cancer research, ladies and gentlemen. And that means we're only about 3,000 away from the goal.
Yay!
It's exciting.
Keep them coming.
As exciting as it's happening.
100%.
So this is the happening is M. Night Shyamalan trying to take back control of his career. He thinks that everybody's got him figured out. Everybody knows that there's always a twist in his movies. Everybody knows that they just call him the golden boy. And instead, he has the balls to just go nope. Instead, I'm going to give you just a movie that, one, has a strong message, a pro-Earth message. And also, it's not about the plot. It's not about the twists. It's about the characters. It's about the performances. And it's going to be R-rated. If you don't like it, this is M. Night now. This is me. And unfortunately, just America was not ready, and they turned on him. But Alex,
it's a true shame he didn't start going by Night Shyamalan. He just dropped the M and had a whole new persona coming into this.
We have officially crossed the $12,000 line with a $7 donation from Stunt Cali. And then we just got another one. Brett Clark, $35. The chat does not exist.
I made a huge mistake of telling my friends about that I was doing this for taking drinks for money, so they're all chiming in here.
Yes.
But that's how you get them, Alex.
It's the race. It's the race to alcohol poisoning here Saturday afternoon on Livestream for the Cure.
Yeah, we need to get Ashley back on here and see which one we can kill first.
Speaking of kill, I feel like we're talking about Night Shyamalan here, which is his Criterion name moving forward.
Right.
The plot of this movie, we just assume everyone's seen this. This is for all intents and purposes, of the past 30 years, regarded as one of the worst movies that's come out, I think, by a lot of people. So I just assume everyone's seen it. So the plot of this is that the plants turn on us. We are mean to the earth, and so the earth is mean to us in return and is able to release all these toxins and shit in the air that make humans kill themselves.
Right.
Well, not all of us, though. Just that specifically shitty part of America. Is it the Northeast?
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the movie, it moves its way to Europe.
But see, here's the thing. It settles around the upstate New York, Boston area, and I mean that's where you got Patriots fans, that's where you got Celtics fans, that's where you got Bruins fans, that's where you got Red Sox fans. I mean, they've won too many championships. They needed a hit at some point. We have to really take that population down a little bit, and I'm really proud of M. Night Shyamalan for doing that for us.
You gotta even the field. You gotta hit there first, and then move forward to Europe, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, the plants attack, and we just follow this couple that's having marital problems, played by Mark Wahlberg and Zooey Deschanel in career-defining performances. Along the way, John Leguizamo tags along. Yeah. Now, Alex, let me know when you want to deploy the first of our questions to the chat.
Okay, so let's start with Mark Wahlberg, because he is the one that really took the brunt of the punishment for this movie. He plays a high school science. He plays a high school science teacher that has clearly had sex with at least 3 of his students, and he is basically just Mark Wahlberg trying to give science lessons. And
sign me up. I'll watch that movie. I did.
Yeah, and he went on to get nominated for an Oscar after this, and it's to prove that no matter cancel culture does not work. They can't bring you down just because you made The Happening. You will get that Oscar nomination years down the road for The Fighter, which in many ways he takes far more chances in The Happening than he did in The Fighter. In The Fighter, he's just white trash that likes to fight. That seems like a really hard part for Mark Wahlberg to play. Now,
yeah, he's definitely stretching some muscles in this movie. Did you get the feeling, Alex, that it was kind of like the Mark Wahlberg's version of what he thinks an unpopular guy is? Like he's Mark Wahlberg, so he's never experienced being kind of like nerdy and just living a regular life. And to me, it was captivating to watch this guy, this Hollywood superstar, trying to come down to our level and just being like, "Oh, guys, I'm a regular guy. I'm a teacher with a hot wife that doesn't like me."
The best part in this whole movie, from the Wahlberg perspective, is him nailing the catty husband when he explains that he almost bought just a superfluous bottle of cough syrup. That would have been $6. And he's explaining how he just, I guess, tried to hit on the pharmacist at their local pharmacy. It's so fascinating to watch Mark Wahlberg try to act like a normal person. And I think that's what really
Relatable.
deserves the accolades for this. Now, John Leguizamo plays the other male lead in this, and I'm not sure where everyone sits with John Leguizamo. You want to talk about an actor with it's not even yo-yoing. It's his filmography is just like a paintball gun filled with every color of the rainbow just shot at the wall. He's done it all.
Yeah.
We got a $7 donation from Chris Benoit.
No.
Oh no.
No. Who's done this?
Oh my
Too
God
early
in
for
heaven!
this.
And I just wanted to check in here really quickly because we did hit $12,000. Myself and Dan, of course, are partaking in a little spice challenge here. And
Uh-oh.
Contrarians, you guys get stuck with this every year, I feel
You
like
really do.
now. But
Hey,
this is
good
Torchbearer Sauce's Zombie Apocalypse Ghost Pepper Hot Sauce.
Not Plant Apocalypse.
I have infused it into Plant Apocalypse Ghost Pepper Hot Sauce. And not BAMF, $10 donation. Thank you so much. But yeah, this is a raspberry
you.
buttercream frosting infused with that hot sauce on a chocolate cupcake. Dan, cheers, baby.
Where's
The
mine?
whole thing.
Well,
Big
Dan and
finger
Nick
mouth is Julio.
indulge. So yeah, we got to get some audience participation besides me just fucking housing Dwayne's liquor over here. Julio, I mentioned John Leguizamo has a filmography unlike anybody. I mean, The Pest, Super Mario Brothers,
Spawn.
The Happening. Yeah, Spawn. He's the goddamn violator in Spawn. So Julio and I concocted questions for the people listening in the chat. And Julio, we have one centered around John Leguizamo.
Yes. So this is, hopefully you should all be familiar with John Leguizamo's filmography, but at
Get
the very
out if
least
you're
with him
not.
as an actor. So just throw it out in the chat. Like, if you had to pick one actor to replace John Leguizamo across his entire filmography, not just like a specific movie, but like everything. You're replacing him as Luigi, you're replacing him as Violator, you're replacing him as this math teacher in The Happening. Who's the best candidate? Who can out Leguizamo, or at least come close to it? So shoot those answers in the chat. In the meantime, we can talk about the third wheel in this scenario.
Well, I was going to say, the main thing to keep in mind when speaking of The Pest there is that he has the most impressive Oscar scene in The Happening, where he
Oh, God.
hands his daughter over to Mark Wahlberg and Zooey Deschanel and is crying while reciting probabilities and statistics to make himself feel better. And then he snaps out of like the emotion of crying. And when Zooey Deschanel reaches for his daughter's hand, he gets that fiery Latin anger and says, "Don't you grab my daughter's hand unless you mean it."
Yeah.
And then he just rides off into certain death. I mean, we're
dude,
talking.
How do you watch that scene and not go, man, this movie deserves every Oscar under the fucking sun?
Just give him to Leguizamo. But that's the thing. Leguizamo is not doing what Wahlberg is doing, because Wahlberg is playing against type. He went completely. He's not Mark Wahlberg. But I get the feeling that Leguizamo, it's kind of like this is him more than, he's not Luigi, he's not the violator, but he is a math teacher, that's just kind of struggling
yeah.
to get his daughter to his wife. So it's good. It's good contrast. You have the really weirdness of Mark Wahlberg trying to play a regular guy, and then you have the almost cinema verite of Leguizamo just being himself, except that the plants are trying to kill him. It's so powerful that really Shyamalan knows that we couldn't take a full movie of this, so he just takes him out of it.
Dude.
He's like 30 minutes of Leguizamo. That's all you get.
God forbid the day comes that John Leguizamo leaves this earth. The year after at the Oscars, his in memoriam clip is going to be "Don't take my daughter's hand unless you mean it." That's
Yes.
100%.
and then everyone's just going to stand up and clap. You're going to cut to fucking Robert Duvall tearing up in the front row clapping.
What planet is this where Duvall has outlived Leguizamo?
Duvall's outliving us all. Come on, dude.
That's true. That's
All
true.
right, so Julio, I cut you off there because we just had to talk about the math teacher that we all had between 6th and 7th grade, which was John Leguizamo. Moving into the one that got away in terms of left this movie completely unscathed, and that's Zooey Deschanel. We're talking about it inexplicably.
Yeah.
We're talking about a movie that had so much bad, just vitriol thrown at it when it came out, and she just pranced through the razor wire and came out without a single drop of color on her. But because she went for it.
Well, yeah, that's so she's kind of like in the middle, right? With Wahlberg playing against type, Leguizamo doubling down on his type, and then Zooey Deschanel is being Zooey Deschanel, but unlike any Zooey Deschanel we've seen before, right? She's still adorkable, but she's in a horror movie, which what the fuck? Like that is just so weird. How can you manage to be adorkable in a horror movie? Well, The Happening. That's how.
We were speaking to the chutzpah of M. Night Shyamalan, and by this point in the world's history, it was already proven what the optimum use of Zooey Deschanel was, and that's Elf. So you're talking about Night Shyamalan sitting in the theater watching Elf and saying, "I can do something with that. I can have more from that."
No singing. I don't need the singing.
No
I
singing.
just need I just need the big eyes.
But yeah, it's did you know the guy that I guess not even cheating, just the guy she went on the date with, the Joey, the voice on the phone, that's M. Night Shyamalan.
I mean, talk about wishful thinking.
Yeah,
I mean, but who's better than that girl? In 2008, not many people. So good for you, M. Night Shyamalan. You got to fulfill your fantasies somehow.
You gotta shoot your shot.
Yeah,
That's right.
he cameos in all his movies, so it makes sense that was him on the phone. I didn't even know that.
That's probably his shortest, smallest, least pretentious cameo. So
Easily,
good for him.
Easily, because
Exactly.
you don't have to see his face.
Yeah.
Showed restraint. He didn't figure out how to get rid of the aliens. He wasn't, presumably Jesus Christ, depending on how you read Lady in the Water. So he was just here and, just, hey, might have had some tiramisu with this fine girl right here. But, it is what it is. So
He's the guy
Julio,
that misread the tiramisu date. Again, relatable.
we've all been there.
We've all been
Everybody's
there.
been there.
Tiramisu's
So-
good though, so
It means something.
it's like
Yeah.
you get the I mean, just
Well,
It's not like they
actually,
got the
then-
triple header
then by
at
that-
Chili's.
dusted
that
cocoa
logic-
powder and everything. Like
By that logic, then she misread the tiramisu date. So I mean, it's all her fault. This entire scenario.
Layered writing.
she's
from Night
clearly just
Shyamalan.
trying to find herself though. Like she's clearly just she's searching for who she is in there, and maybe who she is a girl that goes out on dates for tiramisu. Maybe she's married to a beefy math teacher. She's
Maybe she
still
wants a
trying to
kid.
figure it out. Yeah.
Maybe she wants a kid.
I mean, you never know until you've taken care of a child during a crisis.
Until
and
you've
that's when
taken
you
their
really know
hand
if you
when
want a
you
kid or
mean
not.
it. You know?
Yeah. This thing, I guess, let's poll the room right here. It's like your significant other goes for tiramisu with a coworker. Cheating, not cheating, worth of the scandal that takes place in this movie? Because
It's-
Wahlberg takes it hard when he finds out.
Yeah, it's definitely going to cause some tension because that was a conscious choice to make it tiramisu. Like that's a very specific kind of intimate dessert. You know what I mean? It's
That's not an accidental dessert.
No,
Right,
no.
right.
We're not talking about like sharing an apple pie. We're talking tiramisu.
Yeah, and I feel like this was a plan because you got to pick a place that makes a good tiramisu. You can't just roll up to any old place and go, they only have your tiramisu. So no, they picked the place ahead of time. Like, yeah, this is definitely there was a plan here. It wasn't just like, oh, I bumped into my coworker at this place and we got tiramisu.
If this movie has a
Excellent writing.
failing, and that's if this movie has a failing,
Right.
it's that she didn't explain to Mark Wahlberg what they did, so we didn't get to hear Mark Wahlberg go, "You had tiramisu?" I mean, just imagine Wahlberg delivering that, and like tears in his eyes.
Tiramisu, baby.
So,
What
Julio, we
Wahlberg
brought it
does
up.
with his voice is amazing here in this
Yeah.
movie.
We brought it up already. I guess it's to Paul the chat and everything. You know, we came up with these questions we want to get in. We talked about how Mark Wahlberg became a meme from this movie. M. Night Shyamalan obviously didn't derail his career. This movie made over $150 million, so he did all right.
Yeah, but I think you
but
clearly see it as like his
there's a
career is
decline in
before the
interest.
happening after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's a decline in interest. Zoe Deschanel just came out, you know, as fresh as a summer spring. Why? Why was she the one that everyone was just like, oh yeah, it's fine. She was in The Happening. It's okay.
Because
so
you can't look in those eyes and judge her harshly for it.
Yeah.
She
She's
melts
the
Is
girl,
that-
that girl next door, man?
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? Is it just like the charisma, the Zoe Deschanel charisma that really powered through all the potential backlash of the happening?
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
It melts the coldest heart, Julio. Just
A lot of
Speaking
new
of that,
girl
you-
fans here.
Y'all really no-sold that frosting. I guess it wasn't too bad.
Oh no. It wasn't like last year where Gerald's like, I write to my wife, tell her I love her.
I mean, I think it's it's the
exactly.
problem. I think it's just because, like, you know, I cooked everything homemade, and you know, it's a buttercream frosting, so it's got a lot of sweetness and like all the dairy from the butter and everything working against the capsaicin and the spice elements. So, you know, I mean, Dan can just do a shot of the hot sauce if we want to, you know,
Oh yeah, give it over.
or if we want to just kill Gerald. Loy sauce.
Sure. That'll get us some donuts.
Loy sauce with a $25 donation,
See?
asking the question that I think we all were wondering about the happening. Why are you eyeing my lemon drink? And then Jared Taylor, $7 donation. Alex looks thirsty.
I was going pretty good there for a while. This ain't bad.
Ricky
I'm at,
Steaks donated $10. Keep up the good work, fellas. Thank you so much,
Thank
Ricky
you.
Steaks.
Thank you.
Nice.
So,
Whoa.
well, speaking of the tiramisu and just the state of
This movie.
Wahlberg and Deschanel's marriage, because I think that now it's a good time to bring up the fact that that's kind of a through line on Shyamalan's career up to this point, not counting Lady in the Water, but really all his movies are about marriage, about a married couple and their struggles, right? And The Sixth Sense, the husband is dead. And in Unbreakable, you know, the couple is becoming estranged. They're like near separation. In Signs, the wife is dead. In the Village, it's basically an engagement that sets off the entire movie. So that's like, come on, you know, he had the formula. Like I said, he could have kept making those movies. Lady in the Water is kind of like a weird offshoot before he gets to the happening. And I think that the experience of making Lady in the Water made him realize that it was time to be more honest about his themes, which is why I think that the marriage between Mark Wahlberg and Zoe Deschanel comes to the forefront in The Happening. That's really what's important. Fuck the plot. There's no plot in that. Kind of like, so we can appreciate their struggles. And the climax of the movie is them coming together. I mean, that's really do whatever you gotta do with that, Dan, because it's freaking me out.
Well, he was frozen there for a second. I was afraid he was gonna, the plants got
I
to
wasn't
him, and he was
frozen.
about
I
to
was fine.
They're doing the hot
shove
sauce
that
straight
chip
up
in his
here.
eye. Yeah.
It'd be like Netflix and Swill, Netflix and Swill, and he just stabs himself. So yeah, so this is like quite the climax, and it has nothing to do with the plants. It has nothing to do with anything other than this couple deciding that you know, if they're gonna die, they want to die together, and they'll drag that little kid with them as well.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
I'll just say real quick, Julio. I'm actually a fan of Shyamalan's, and I remember when this came around, and the marketing for this movie is really what dragged me in. Now, and rewatching it now, I mean, it's not good, but at the time, the way it was marketing, like if you go back and watch the trailer and stuff, and the different kind of haunting scenes that we see in the first act when we're kind of learning what's going on with these people when they come under the spell or whatever, you know, that was really cool. Like as kind of a suspense horror fan, I thought, if this had been like a short movie, like 30-minute short film, I feel like it would have been really good. But it just doesn't execute well as a feature.
Like
are
it
you
ends when
talking
Leguizamo dies.
Yeah, there you go.
Gerald is nailing. Gerald just, extrapolated on my American Hustle hypothesis. If American Hustle was a 20-minute short film, it would have been incredible. Instead, we got whatever the fuck that movie was.
That was meant to
so
be funny.
I appreciate what he says there. So Julio, I think we're,
We got a
like we said, to any
$25
potential new
donation
listeners.
from Sam with movie reviews and 20 Qs.
Hey, Sam.
He said, I want to tiramisu Shyamalan for trying to fuck my soul with this movie. $25 donation from Sam.
Well done.
Thanks, Sam.
Oh, so that hot sauce is way hotter when you do it straight.
It is
on a
way
tip.
hotter, but I'm still fine.
He's gonna start sweating profusely.
Just
over there.
chasing it with watermelon. I'm good.
It's happening.
Okay, yeah, I've got too many things I need to say. For any potential new listeners, this is really a truncated version of what we do, but we're starting to kind of meld into the real talk portion of it. So, to be honest, I think we made it sound about as good as we could in the 20 minutes that we talked about it there.
Alex, we have not done that yet. Because normally, every year we have this where Julio or somebody will say something profound that really ties the movie together and makes you really think, oh, this really is a good movie. And I will attempt to do that now. After this donation gets read.
Katie with a $25 donation. You guys rock. Yes, the Contrarians.
Thank
rock.
you, Katie.
So, the end of the movie, I think that's everyone's big contention with the movie, is that we never really find out what happened. We can assume it's the Earth being mad at us, and then it just was localized entirely within that one part of the country that needed a call. And then it moves on to a different place.
Taking out the French. That's what the end of the movie is.
And then we start taking out the French because they deserve it.
We found a way to weaponize it.
But but here's the thing. Everyone complains like, oh, we never like Shyamalan never tells us. And really, think about all the stuff we know about the Earth, and think about how much we don't know. There's so much we still don't know about planet Earth. Despite all the research, everything we could possibly do, who knows why the planet started doing this? All we need to do is have more respect for the Earth. Maybe then it will take mercy on us. Maybe it will allow us then to not be subjected to this new planticide call. Otherwise, we're doomed to keep repeating it. I mean, next, who knows? It can go to Australia. I mean, they have plants there. They have funnel web spiders and shit, and then they have killer plants. Are you kidding me?
If nature decides they want to kill you,
pretty good about avoiding shit.
Yeah, but that's because nature has, behaved. If nature decides to turn against us in Australia and New Zealand, you're fucked. Like, that's within hours. You're done. Here in America,
So,
buildings.
To piggyback on kind of what everyone's been saying, watching this, I had like this mind-blowing premonition, or as Samuel L. Jackson would say in Pulp Fiction, as alcoholics refer to it, a moment of clarity. Can you imagine if this movie came out the first weekend in March of 2020, right before shit got really bad with COVID?
God.
Wow.
When no one understood what COVID was or what was happening. We're talking, Orson Welles' War of the Worlds, Bash at the Beach 1996 type pandemonium here of people in the streets rioting, tipping over cars, not understanding how to respond to what's going on. I think that if this exact same movie came out at that point in time, its legacy would be so much different.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Davis with a $7 donation, Alex.
Do it. I can just see people camping outside Wahlberg's house. It's like, he survived. He knows how to handle it.
Give us the cure.
Yeah, it's also telling, though, that this is, I want to say, like, without revisiting his entire career, I think this is the one time that Shyamalan has actually tried to say something with his movies, like, really upfront, like, this is a manifesto. Because everything else, regardless of how you feel, whether it's positive or negative towards, like, The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, whatever, it's if there's a message there, it's a lot more low-key, it's a lot more subtle, and it's just it's more about the ride, and the twists and all that stuff. But here with The Happening, it was like his primary goal was to really get this point across.
So let's go ahead and let's use this as the transition real talk. What the fuck was he trying to say?
Treat the Earth better? I don't fucking know. This is terrible. This movie sucks.
Yeah, wind is scary.
You look thirsty with a $7 donation.
Man.
I don't know. I read a quote saying that. I read a quote saying that his goal, that he had said that he was making a B movie with great talent, like a great B movie, which
You can tell the tequila's kicking in because I heard you say that, and I thought you were saying he was working on B movie, the animated movie with Jerry
it.
Seinfeld.
I would watch that too, the live action
Oh,
version.
man.
What's the deal with twists?
What's the deal with the
Your
plant?
butt's going one way, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's going another way.
I guess let's throw this other question to the chat, which was as we discussed what was going on through his head. Can you guys think of another filmmaker that has had such a steep decline after such a, I guess, impressive rise, right? Because he made his first
Dan
3
Gilroy.
movies, 4 movies, but Dan
Nicholas
Gilroy
Winding
had like
Refn.
No.
one.
Don't even start, Julio.
I love Nightcrawler, but I mean, it's not like he built up on Nightcrawler and
I
then
guess that's true.
fell.
Can we claim Roland Emmerich with Independence Day and then all the just dog shit he made after
well,
that?
You had the Patriot afterwards, which I still haven't seen. Well, I haven't seen recently. But I wanna
Godzilla
give it another
98 is a
chance.
masterpiece. I hate all of you.
Shut the fuck up.
This coming from the guy. Okay, Nick said horror movies suck. No one likes them. He said GoldenEye sucks, and now he has the
GoldenEye
temerity.
is terrible. It
He
is
has the
so
temerity to say Godzilla 98 is good.
It's a
Good
masterpiece.
lord.
Masterpiece.
Can't pin him down.
So aside from the Patriot, which jury's still out for me on that, then I will agree with Roland.
Eric
Emmerich going
Bischoff
down.
randomly just getting name dropped in the chat.
Wait, Eric Bischoff.
Fucking Bischoff.
I mine, for how much I love Drive, it's Nicholas Winding Refn because I passionately detest Only God Forgives and then the Neon Demon.
Drive's
And I-
terrible too. Just hate them all because they're all bad.
All right, guys,
Come on.
that's gonna be it for me. I'm out of here.
Ashley just donated $10. Bubby.
Thank you, Ashley. Glad to see you're still awake.
Yeah, right.
And alive.
Yeah.
But like to the point, Julio, and gentlemen here, as we all lived through it. The Sixth Sense changed everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
To this day, filmmakers are still trying to do something
Yes.
as shocking as revealing that Bruce Willis was dead in that movie. It's still something that's going on. So that makes it all the more fascinating that the guy who created that has had this slew of to movies since then. And, and this appears to be kind of like what his vision of filmmaking is, because this was the movie he was given just carte blanche, make whatever you want. And I guess it's an act in vanity, you could almost say.
Well, it's
he
tough.
thought
We had 2 donations in there. One from M of Verbal Diorama. Love you, M. She said, with love and on-screen cat butts from Jess. $17. And then Io Shirai Hater.
Oh, Io Shirai.
Io Shirai Hater 69. $32 donation. Good luck.
Just drink, Alex.
All right.
Alex, you nailed it. I mean, he's chasing the Sixth Sense basically the entire rest of his career, and frankly he still is. I mean, that was a game-changing, some people would argue, masterpiece, especially in that realm. And he's
but I
just
don't know
trying to
about
top
that,
it.
huh?
He's just trying to top it, and it's got to be tough, man.
I don't know that he's.
See, Gerald,
chasing
we're in the same camp, but
Sixth Sense.
Julio's going to come in here with this bullshit about Unbreakable. Unbreakable's the best one.
That was a
Ugh.
good
Well,
one.
that's true.
That was a good one.
Unbreakable is the best one, but also I
No.
don't think he's chasing the
It's
Sixth
an
Sense. I think he's
inanimate
running away from
carving
Sixth
rod.
Sense. I think he knows that he can't. He tried, and I think after 3 or 4 movies, he realized that he couldn't make the Sixth Sense again. So now, since then, he's been trying to do something else, and he can't do that either. He's just haunted by his first movie, which is sad. I mean, it's great. I love his first 3. I even like The Village. His first four movies are great, but
I even agree
look
with
at
that, Brad.
things-
Unbreakable is great.
Unbreakable is
but
very
there you
good.
go.
Unbreakable is really good. I like Signs a lot too, and I
No,
also
You're on the
Unbreakable and
outside
Signs are
shit.
fine.
Science
Also,
is
but the
garbage.
No, it's not. Nick. I also enjoy
be a
The
big long.
Village, but
You want to talk about something else too? That's another classic moment in modern film history where Joaquin sees the alien for the first time in the home video and he gets
Yeah.
scared and backed away. That's to me, that's on par with as good of shit as M. Night's delivered. It may have not aged well, but seeing that for the first time was something else. It's far more remarkable than anything that happens in The Happening.
Right.
I mean, I think that the biggest problem that I have with The Happening is, I mean, Dan touched on it a little bit, but I really, honest to God, think that he is so void of talent that he gets to the end of this movie and he knows that the audience is going to want some kind of explanation. Now, you could just basically say nothing. You could have Zoe Deschanel and Wahlberg walk toward each other, and all of a sudden this event has ended, and end the movie. It's still not going to be a good movie, but it's going to be like, at least it'll make you think. But then he follows it up with a scene wherein he has a character literally say, I guess we'll never understand what happened, because rather than come up with something, he basically tells his audience, fuck you, I don't feel like writing an ending, and nobody's ever going to know what it means, fuck off.
Oh no, but Nick, you're
even
missing
worse
the
than he
detail.
says. It's even worse than Nick says, because Zoe Deschanel's character is pregnant. So it makes it all the worse that it ends with them like in this warm, longing embrace. We're going to have a kid? Can it have tiramisu?
Name it tiramisu.
But see, that doctor that's giving the exposition at the end, he's like at this, I'm assuming it's like Fox News or something. And I think the key detail is that when he says, well, I guess we'll never know, maybe the plan's it or whatever, the guy that's interviewing him kind of rolls his eyes, and like there's like a 1 second shot that goes like, and I think that's the thing that like, see, we went through this shit and we're not learning. We still don't learn. It's still poorly done. But
we had a donation of $24.69 from Chris Yaney. He said, bend over, let's go Pens, damn it.
Julio,
Ian has been drinking with us.
Your eye roll right there is probably the second greatest of all time outside of Rodney Dangerfield and Caddyshack.
Oh, looks good on you, though.
Thank you, I guess.
So, okay, for the sake of time, just want to get to like some of the bits about this, because honestly, we know you guys got more guests. We could be on here till midnight talking about this movie.
Probably.
What's wrong with it? And
Quoting
so
Mark
the science of this movie is fascinating. That they're able to return autopsies within 2 hours and say why someone died. That's really fascinating to me. It's on the news also. They, the first people that have died for this reason. Yeah, we got to talk about Mark Wahlberg. One of my notes I have on here says no one should have ever taken him seriously after this. He deserved nothing after this movie. And there's a scene also where he like fingers the plastic plant that's very off-putting. But
is that his Oscar clip when he talks to the plastic plant?
I don't know if you could describe anything he does as an Oscar clip. It's maybe like the
entire
just give
movie.
me a second. Give me a goddamn second.
Oh,
but,
yeah. It's like
Pain and Gain. Pain and Gain is one of my favorite movies of the past, 20 years, and he makes that movie. But honestly speaking, God love him, but he deserved nothing after this. We've talked about movies that have really bad writing, and actors are trying, but they just can't deliver what the writer or the director is asking of them. This is like inexcusably bad.
Right.
And I know if he heard this, he'd beat the shit out of me. So, Mark, in case you're listening, I'm sorry, but you were not good in The Happening. Yes.
Right.
Bafflingly bad. Exactly.
His delivery is so flat. He believes nothing he ever says. Like the closest he gets to actually showing a personality and kind of delivering it in a convincing way is the opening scene where he's talking to his kids, to his class. That's it. Outside of that, he's like
banged 3 of those students.
Right. But even still, he's like, guys, we got to get to the thing. We got to do this. Let's drive up the road. And it's like, Mark, no one believes you. Shut the fuck up.
It's funny because in that opening scene, you're like, oh, that's how he talks to students. And then when he's no longer in class, you're like, oh, no, that's how he talks the entire movie.
Yeah.
That's not a real person. I don't know. To me, it's just, I don't know. Because it's intentional. That's the problem. It's like, it's not that Mark Wahlberg came with this idea of like, I'm going to play the character this way. And then Shyamalan said like, no, you're going to play him like a real person. Like M. Night Shyamalan let it happen. I could put it on screen. So it's just like, it was a team effort to get this there. And it's not just him. I mean, the way that Zoe Deschanel acts is also, it's on that same level where they're like not really delivering dialogue like real people, which to me kind of like going back to what he said about like how he was making a B movie with great talent, a good B movie. Was that the whole point, that you were making was this his Sharknado? It's like, oh haha, we have all these resources, are we gonna make a bad movie on purpose? Which to me seems kind of wasteful at best. You have all these actors, you have all this production behind you, and you're gonna waste it all on a bad movie that's not even amusing. I don't know that.
So also the way Dan verbalized that response is perfect for our last question for the chat. the people listening along and whatnot. Have you ever truly believed Mark Wahlberg in any role that he's ever been in? A lot of people, Pain and Gain, I will say immediately, I absolutely believe Mark Wahlberg in that movie. But he is an actor that one of the biggest knocks on him has always been he's an actor and he's just playing himself, or some people say he's playing himself and everything, but other people just think he's a good-looking guy that gets lines and delivers them. So Pain and Gain, I love. The Departed, I think he's phenomenal in.
About Ted.
I remember.
The chat just threw Ted out there.
You got nominated
Well,
for The Departed.
Yeah,
I would say The Departed.
I don't acknowledge Seth MacFarlane's contributions to society, but you guys can believe what you want. Also, Gerald, when you were in transition there, phenomenal T-shirt you got on, my man.
Oh, you saw it. Thank you. It's to piss Dan off specifically.
It really
'cause he hates
is.
this
That movie sucks.
Did you guys see it?
Well, that's 5 more days till Halloween, Halloween, Halloween.
Dan.
All right,
Julio
so
agrees with me, so that's all that matters. Well, actually, no, he doesn't.
I
I don't
mean,
know how
no,
Julio feels. I forget, but
I
No.
like it well enough.
no.
I like it better than The Happening.
I guess I'm Nick now. Now that he's left, I'm the one with the bad opinions.
Yeah.
Julio,
Well,
Dan, Gerald, anybody, as we're closing in here, in the last 10 minutes of us being on here, let's talk about anything that specifically stuck out about this movie otherwise. I'll start by saying the whole sequence at the crazy old lady's house was absolutely fucking ridiculous. They presented it like this horror movie all of a sudden for no reason.
Mhm.
And was she crazy? Was she going to kill him? No, she just has Fox News on in the background. I don't know what the issue is.
Right.
Right.
well, to build on that though, and I think I texted you about it. I wish that he had done more with the idea that the people that are infected by whatever's happening in The Happening, they only hurt themselves.
Lily
And the people
Lex
that didn't-
99 with the donation. Lily Lex
Oh,
99.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Cool.
Drink, Alex. But the people that are not infected are the ones that end up doing the most damage to other people, right? Like the guy that doesn't want to let them in ends up shooting 2 kids, and then the old woman ends up, putting them in danger. I'm breaking the window and all that stuff. So
That scene with the people that shoot the kids is that's the closest thing to
Yeah.
interesting this movie comes, because that's exactly how these fucking MAGA people would respond to something like this happening.
It's Central
And-
PA. Yeah, that's exactly how they would. That's exactly who those people are.
Yeah,
it's
and so
impressive too, because somebody would stop at, okay, we killed 1 kid, but he kills the 2nd kid right away. I'm talking about Shyamalan as a filmmaker. That he
Yeah.
that's where
just-
all the creative energy behind this movie went.
Yeah,
And then
that
the
scene's
dialogue was put into
legitimately
word jumble.
good. Like the
Yeah.
construction of that scene, the minute details, not so much, but yeah, that scene is easily the best.
I'll say in the opening too,
Yep.
guys. I love the opening with the construction workers kind of raining off the building, and it's very haunting if you can take yourself back to 2008 when it came out and you don't know what you're about to see an hour and a half from now and how shitty it kind of turns out. I mean, it's kind of creepy with everybody stopping in Central Park and you don't really know yet, so kind of the ambiguity there really added to the kind of suspense
if they
of it,
didn't
too.
talk, I think that's the only problem. The dialogue in that opening is just really weird.
Yeah.
The woman that's where was I? I never anybody has asked me where they are in the book, and I know where they are in the book, and yet that's how this movie starts with that the 2 women on the bench, and it's where was I? And she knows exactly. It just feels so staged.
Yeah.
And then everything
So-
else just feels very brutal.
Gerald called out something though that I want to make sure we bring up here before we go off is the marketing behind this movie, the trailer and the TV spots from the guy who brought you The Sixth Sense and all that.
Right.
And I specifically remember the trailer having we lost contact with who? Everybody.
With who?
That
That's right.
and with
That's
whom?
really high
That's right.
pitched.
And with whom? And then what kind of terrorists are these? That type of thing. There was so much intrigue behind this movie that it was the most monumental fart in church you could think of. Going to see this, it was just what?
Yeah.
How did you think this was gonna work?
Alex, I hope you still got some tequila, man. Another $50 donation just rolled in from For Your Reference. Thank you, guys.
Good lord,
Thank you, KT and OT.
Yeah.
we bring the bacon on this.
Yeah,
so
no kidding.
the marketing.
At this point.
We've skipped around here. Julio, call out a scene. I have one more that I'm going to shoehorn in here in the next 8 minutes. But what's a scene from this movie that you found baffling, reassuring, good? What's something that you took away that just kind of scratching your noodle about?
We kind of touched on it a little bit in Contrarians Corner, but to me, the fact that there is no hesitation from Zoe Deschanel in just grabbing that little girl and taking her out at the end of the movie, like that's a very important choice. Like she's deciding to kill herself basically,
Mm-hmm.
and instead she just leaves her behind. It's just, I mean, I understand that it's not like the options were, plentiful there. It's like, oh well, I can kill myself and then the girl's by herself, but still,
Right.
it just seems it seems weird that there wasn't a moment where you could see Zoe Deschanel's character having to wrestle with the fact that it's not just her life, but also the life of her friend's daughter, and she just makes that sacrifice, and it's painted as this celebrated moment. It's a triumph. So it was just really weird. I honestly I've forgotten that happened, and when I was watching the movie this time, I'm like, wow, really? She just dragged her friend's daughter out there to die? It was
Yeah, it's
weird.
not even like she went, "Hey, I'm going out." So, like, there's a line like, "You can come with me if you want." And,
Right.
you can stay in this house
Come with
if you
me
want.
if you want to live.
Right. But like, you can come with me if you want to die. But like, there's not even that option. It's just like, hey, you're fucking coming with me, and she fucking like she looks like a fucking like the Karen mom, like dragging her kid throughout the fucking department store, like, don't fucking touch anything, we're going.
You're talking to the manager. So do
Uh,
you
I
have
Julio and Alex specifically, do you guys think this movie would work with a different cast? Or
I don't know if there's
No.
a single collaboration of people alive that could pull off the script.
well, no, I would say maybe
You could have fucking Brad Pitt and Meryl Streep, and I don't know if you could pull this off.
You
I
need
would
a
watch
different
that
director.
though. I really would.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
obviously, but
I think you need a different
someone
director.
used the phrase "deserved," and I just wanted to call out. There's that part where they're all fleeing away from where a bunch of people have just died, and Shyamalan, Night Shyamalan, as we've dubbed him,
You deserve this.
makes sure to, yep. He makes sure to linger on the billboard that says "You deserve it." It's like, what are you trying to say? I'm sure you eat fucking steak. I mean,
Right.
what are you doing?
So my weird fucking scene is when they after they hitchhike with that guy and he takes them back to the greenhouse and is like, "You guys like hot dogs?" Yeah, like
Yes.
because I really like hot
yeah.
dogs. Hot dogs are like the best thing ever. And I'm just like, is this sponsored by Ballpark Franks? Like, what is going on here?
Forced comic relief, really.
So-
Cringe.
So that dude's name is Frank Collision. Have you ever heard of a more
Wow.
badass name than Frank Collision?
That's good.
That actor's name. That scene, it seemed like that is like the scene. Julio and I texted about it watching. That seems like M. Night Shyamalan finally convinced himself that he's a god tier filmmaker, like Scorsese, and could just write, some scene like in The Departed, for example, with you guys delivering cannolis. That whole you keep calling me Babu. My name's Singh, motherfucker. The way that Scorsese is able to easily deliver comedy in his movies. M. Night Shyamalan thought, well, I'll just have this weird white guy talking about hot dogs, and people will love it. They'll eat it up. And I'm
20
going to
years
cast a
from
guy
now.
named Frank Collision to do it.
The only name I've heard that's better than that might be Dick Warlock
That's true.
from Halloween 2. Which is a good one. Wow, I didn't know
Yeah, because you texted me that they were giving hot dogs a bad name, and I'm like, well, not necessarily. Like the guy likes
Oh, no,
hot
that's what he
dogs.
says. He says hot dogs get a bad rep.
Right. Oh, okay. You were quoting him. I thought that you were giving
Yeah.
your personal opinion. You were coming to the defense of hot dogs.
Have you seen me? Clearly, I enjoy hot dogs.
Yeah, that is weird. I don't know. I don't know what to. But going back to Gerald's question, though, I would like to see this movie. I mean, not I wouldn't pay for it, but if it was streaming somewhere, The Happening, directed by someone else, even if you kept the same cast, just to see for sure, like who we have to blame for this. Because if you can get, I don't know, who's like a horror director that
Alex Garland.
Oh, there you go. You get Alex Garland and be like, what can you do
Gordon
with Marky
Green,
Mark?
David Gordon Green. Get him on there.
Too much. No. let's stick with Alex Garland. And just to see what you can do when somebody's actually trying to make a good movie and doesn't fall back on the excuse of like, oh, we're just making a B movie, so you can get away with it not being, with the performances being really weird and the plot not making any sense. Like I want a movie about plants that are threatening humanity, but a movie that takes itself seriously and doesn't give itself the out of like, oh, just kidding, you know. It's a shame that Nick's not here, because I was gonna say it's a canon movie, and would Nick cut it more slack if it was a canon production? You know, be like, oh, well, then that's exactly what we expect from a movie like that.
That's a good point, honestly, because they're not self-aware in The Happening. They take themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
So that's part of the problem.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
the ending just feels like a.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Mark Wahlberg will return in The Happening too.
For the sake of time, wrapping it up here, I just want to do a round of final thoughts. I feel we've done a really good job of covering this within an hour time frame, because, like I said, we could talk about this movie forever. So I'll just say, you know, kind of Gerald encapsulated a lot of my thoughts in terms of at the time and how it was the new M. Night Shyamalan movie. And, you know, he might have hit a skid on a few of these, but he's coming back and he's doing this. And, you know, the trailer was so fascinating, and just the premise of it. This will live forever as one of the more baffling movies in the history of Hollywood. You know, it had a $50 million budget, so we're not talking about some cutthroat island thing that absolutely bankrupted a company or an industry. We're just talking about a very fascinating piece of bad cinema. I will say my final verdict is bad movie, not one that I'm even interested in watching for campy effect. It's bad. I know it's bad, and if I never see it again in my life, I'm content with it. Dan, your thoughts?
My thoughts are this. I grade this movie on a curve because I watched 365 Days literally right before I watched this movie, and I just went, this movie's bad, but it's not 365 days bad. So I'm gonna leave it with like a 1.5 out of 5, like a 3-star. Like it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but like it's pretty fucking bad for a studio film.
Gerald, I get a feeling that you're going to be the most positive out of all of us.
Well, it's because that's me, Julio. You know that. I mean, it has elements to it that I do like. It's just the execution falls apart. The script, which we already talked about, and I feel like it was miscast too. I am really, really curious if there were different actors that could have, you know, showed these range of emotions, if it would have helped a little bit. I was going to tell you this in terms of my review, though. I'll make it real quick. But I was delayed about 2 hours on the runway at JFK on the way here. And the only thing that could make that worse is watching The Happening on my phone while I'm sitting there waiting for the pilot to tell us that we're backing out. So that's what I did. And, you know, it was my second or third time seeing it, and it still didn't improve. So it has good things about it, but it's not a good movie. I don't want to revisit it. I did it for you guys, but I don't want to do it again.
Somebody it was yesterday, I think, on the chat when it came up that we were doing The Happening, somebody mentioned that that it was a good movie to get drunk with friends with.
No,
and
I don't agree with that.
I think so, because this conversation was fun.
Sure.
And so having this sort of running dialogue as the movie's playing, I'm down for that. Maybe not anytime soon, but, you know, 10 years from now, I could revisit it, sit in with friends and like laughing at it and wondering what's going on. But on its own, yeah, it doesn't work. And they marketed, Alex, that's the other thing, as his first R-rated movie. And I think it's been his only R-rated movie to date, and even that was just kind of a letdown. I want to close. I pull up a fresh quote, because they exist, the fresh quotes in Rotten Tomatoes for this movie, and listen to this. It's John Wirt from The Advocate from Baton Rouge, LA, Louisiana, and he says Mark Wahlberg's sturdy performance saves The Happening from becoming a protracted Saturday Night Live spoof of M. Night Shyamalan movies. They actually like Wahlberg's performance. So
well, that's one way to take it.
Wow.
You know, there's a movie for everyone and a person for every movie, and in this case, it was this guy from Louisiana, John Wirt.
Well, look,
hats off to John Wirt.
To end on a donation, right? So
yeah,
Chunkstress, $21. Thank you so much, and I think that
Thank
means
you,
3
Chunkstress.
more
I was about
shots
to
for
say,
Alex before I let him go.
That's right.
I'm
I'm gonna hit the road with a couple of these.
And I guess Dan needs to head to the green room to get 2 girls on a bench, because they are coming in here in a moment. And Nick went upstairs to do a little cooking demonstration. Before we get to all that, we love the Contrarians. You guys brought in a lot of dough for this too, which is great. We're at 12,362 right now.
Awesome.
Getting close, guys. It's awesome. So why don't you just tell them real quick while you're wrapping up where they can find you, Julio and Alex?
Any podcatcher, just search for the Contrarians. We'll be there. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere. And like Alex said, our social media stuff, Contrarian Prime on Twitter, Contrarian Prime on Facebook, Contrarian Prime on Instagram. And then our personal stuff is Contrarian Alex on Twitter for Alex, and Ovnio on Twitter for me, OVNIO. Just stick with Contrarian Prime.
Go to www.wearethecontrarians.com. You'll find everything that you need from there. I'm in charge of dinner tonight for the family, so it's going to be an interesting one.
Those poor souls.
Yeah, hey, Dan, Gerald, Nick, thank you guys so much for having us. Everyone that donated during our hour, thank you so much.
You are great. You're amazing.
Keep them coming in. The Happening is bad. Don't watch it. Well, it's worth one viewing. You can watch it one time. It'll be all right.
Lower your expectations.
Yeah, but guys, thank you so much for having us. We're sorry we bled into the second hour, but it's been fun. I got one more to do for the road, but y'all take care. I'm gonna be on the chat later, so that's gonna be even more interesting.
Cool,
I'm gonna be talking about who actually killed JFK with the state I'm in right now. So,
all right.
All
Well,
right.
I'm signing off too.
Yeah, we're
Bye,
gonna
guys.
sign off to
Thank
you
you.
guys. Thank you so much to the Contrarians for being here. Awesome, Alex.
I can hear you.
All right.